everybody. It's Shireen Vishmaya in San Francisco, and we are also having a really powerful Venus shift because last night was the superior conjunction of Venus with the Sun, which means she's about to re-enter her evening star phase. So it'll take about 36 days before she reemerges in the evening sky, but she's preparing to go back into what's called her Hersperus phase. So if you think back to the Venus retrograde last October, when she went retrograde between Scorpio and Libra, that was when Venus was in she started her morning star phase, where it's also called her Lucifer phase. So she's a little bit of a naughty girl. And now she's getting ready to go back into her more pure and a little bit sweeter, more gentle phase as the evening star. So relationships will take a different tone, but the focus right now is she's in her superior conjunction, kind of getting burnt up by the sun's rays and disappearing from the sky for the next 36 days. It's a chance for us to also really dive internal into our Leo self-love work, inner child healing. And that's also being amplified at this full moon because the full moon is actually opposite Aquarius. So Venus is a very strong role in this full moon energy. And since she is also shifting into her new identity, it's the transition, there's if we think back to the Venus retrograde, I talked a lot about the relationship with Venus retrograde and the 7 gates of Inanna, the Inanna myth, and I do a lot of workshops on that. Actually, I taught a whole workshop on that during the Venus retrograde in LA at the LA Yoga Club. And I'm just thinking back from that journey and how far we've come, and now we're ready to reemerge. There's been a lot of all of us delving into the underworld of relationships over the last year. And now as we get into Venus, 1 year later in October, she's going to be reemerging as her Hesperus phase. People are asking me now, of course, which phase was I born under? Was I born under a Lucifer morning star phase, or was I born under the Hesperus phase? And how can you tell? Well, a really easy way to tell is to look at, in your chart, is Venus ahead of the sun or behind the sun? So if she was ahead of the sun, she's actually a Lucifer baby Venus, or a Lucifer baby Venus rather. And if she was after the sun, Venus falls after your sun, she's in her Hesperus phase. So that's the easiest way to tell, and it will definitely have a little bit of influence on the way you do relationships. Of course, we also need to look at the sign Venus was in, and her, her dignity, and obviously any aspects to Venus and house placement and all of that. But just as a little kind of other nuance to know whether she was in her Lucifer or Hesperus phase, whether she tends to be more of that kind of, a little bit, naughty Venus or sweet Venus. You could look at the phase of Venus when you were born. So anyway, she's now about to reemerge as Hesperus, and at this full moon, of course, we're all being invited, as I said, into this deep Leo self-love work, and we're also looking at our relationship to the collective because it's an Aquarius full moon. So we're also looking at strength in numbers, and we're looking at our own Leo Aquarius polarity in our horoscopes. So wherever Leo and Aquarius falls, this is where you're doing your dance right now between self and others, in the sense of Leo being more of the romantic relationships in your life or what you love on a personal, passionate level, and Aquarius being more of your tribe, your collective, groups, friends, who you call in as alliances into your life. And it's a little chilly now. It's been hot, cold, because we're having this really weird 80-degree weather in San Francisco, but now finally I feel the cool air kicking in. It's been burning hot all day, like high 80s, which is so atypical for San Francisco in August. Usually we get that heat wave in September or October, but not even this hot. Like, to have it be 80 degrees at night is very unusual in San Francisco. So anyway, but now it's cooling off. I can feel the energy is finally shifting, and maybe because the moon is almost full, we're getting a shift. So anyway, we're looking at our relationship to the bigger whole, the collective, strength in numbers. who do we align with? Who's our tribe? Who's our squad? We're thinking about who do we share common values, hopes, goals, dreams, wishes? Who do we want to have on our team? And we're also thinking about how those communities we're involved with can also support us to go into the greater world or greater collective and do our part. We need our friends, we need our team in order to, or our community, our soul family, to back us when we have those even more collective pursuits, right? So once we can call in our people always say it's like my people that share your worldview, you can then rally those people for your greater cause. And we all need to rally right now. If ever there was a time in history where we need our communities and we need to rally for so many reasons. I mean, there's so many causes we could all be fighting for right now, depending on where you feel called most passionately. Please, gather your people and get out there and do your part, because what the Aquarius full moon is reminding us of is that no part is too small. And of course, it starts with be the change that you want to see in the world, do the inner work, do the personal work, but then start to work on your leadership abilities to rally your tribe to go out and support the greater cause. That's the real summons, I feel, of this full moon energy in Aquarius. So let's also look at where the Leo part of our horoscope, since we have Venus there, where that is calling to us right now. Where do we feel the strongest pull of the heart and the self-expression? Now it's so dry, excuse me. Where do we feel that place in our life where we could step up at a greater level and be courageous, be a leader, and step into that regal, self-confident role of Leo to really shine at our maximum radiance? That's Leo, this like the sun. How can we really step into this full strength of the self? And this does reflect back to your actual sun sign. You don't have to be a Leo sun to do it, but to think about how you came in the world to shine, and then how from that role you attract like-minded souls. That's Aquarius. Your friends, your like-minded people. So you have to be able to define yourself so you don't get lost in the greater. You don't want to lose yourself like a herd mentality. That's where Leo's undeveloped. But with a strong Leo, you are able to then, like I said, rally your people to you and still shine, still be in your authentic self. Because Aquarius is really supporting us to be authentic and to step back and see the greater picture, the greater cause, and to support that. And to not be afraid to stand out and to break the status quo. Aquarius also helps with that energy. So we have another interesting thing happening at this full moon, which is Mercury is about to square Uranus tomorrow. And that is going to throw some interesting plot twists or communication exchanges out of left field. We're really going to be having to stay on our toes, as they say, because things are going to come at you that you never saw coming. And I think the challenge is going to be to respond in a way that's not your default response, not the kind of autopilot or automated response. It's going to be something original of the moment where you're really pulling something from an authentic in the moment part of yourself, where you're also, surprising yourself with the innovative comeback that you have, let's say, or just that you're listening to what that person is saying with your whole body so that it's not just a rote response. That's the challenge right now. And for all of us to break out of our old, outworn modes of thinking, because Aquarius is very future forward and it wants us to break free. It wants us to be liberated from the old, outworn patterns and paradigms and just expected ways of thinking, how are you? Fine. That, no. Aquarius would shake it up, make it more interesting, make it authentic of the moment. No, how are you really feeling? And what's the real response? Not just that's what you're expected to say. So watch how that gets challenged. Watch how you're challenged on your own communication status quo over the next few days. The other big shift is Mars is about to go into Virgo. So after the last 6 weeks of a very fiery Mars and Leo, very creative, very passionate, very loving, very of the heart energy, we're now going to be back into our hermit Virgo phase of like, just want to do my rituals and focus on getting my health in perfect condition and my projects, and just kind of getting lost in all those magical Virgo rituals that we love. So yeah, we might be hermiting out a lot over the next 6 weeks. It's definitely got that back to school energy. Virgo always reminds me of that. Although the sun is not going into Virgo until the 23rd, and then the new moon the week after that on the 30th. So it's kind of, Virgo will go in succession. We'll have Virgo energies kind of layered. It won't be automatic. We're all back to school. You know, we're still in the summertime. Summertime and the living is easy energy until so like I said, first we're going to have the Mars going into Virgo this weekend. So that'll catapult our, galvanize that energy that wants to get back into deadlines and work projects. So especially now that Jupiter is out of retrograde, Jupiter won't get any traction until September, but he is on that great attractor, as I mentioned in my last video, which is that really powerful magnetic energy that falls between 12 and 16 of a Sagittarius. But we're all feeling that pull, and we're all being reminded to really look into how we attract, magnetize things to us. Now, we'd all like to think it's as simple as setting an intention. And of course, intention setting is an important part of the law of attraction. But we also want to consider what my Egyptian teacher would call the Ka body, like the auric field of energy, which is really what magnetized to us. It's the energy behind it. It's not just what we say we want. It's really all of that conscious and unconscious energy backing up the intention. And if you have a lot of unconscious energy that hasn't been integrated and actually has a stronger pull, that may be what you're actually pulling toward you. And if you don't like what you're pulling toward you, you definitely want to pay attention to what's happening in the unconscious realm and try to make that conscious, because as Jung says, whatever's unconscious is going to show up in our lives as fate. We're going to call it fate. So this is what people in the law of attraction field often don't talk about and are really missing the boat. I mean, this is like the trendy thing now, right? The law of attraction, the great attractors, and this course and that course and the vortex. But many people don't understand how the unconscious plays a part in this. So pay attention to your dreams and to what's going on in the unconscious part. Now, if it's unconscious, it means you don't know, but you can get a glimpse by what you're attracting to you. And it's that overall kind of murky energy that follows you around. It's the energy you wake up with when you first, even if you don't remember your dream, it's that residue. So that mood that you're in, that's probably what's happening on the unconscious level, and that's probably what you're calling to you. You could be saying, I want this, I want that, I'm going to set this intention, that intention, but you really have to pay attention to the energy behind what you're calling to you. This is the month to really look at that, because Jupiter's going to be just sitting on that great attractor energy all month long. And if you want to know more about the great attractor, check out my colleague Philip Sedgwick's website, philipsedgwick.com, because he's really the expert on that. But I think it's fascinating, and I have noticed my clients with a lot of planets sitting in that 12 to 16 Sagittarius power portal, they are great attractors. They are pretty amazing people, and they do have that strong Ka body that does resonate and seems to attract really powerful, intentional, wishes and desires right into their lives. So we can learn a lot from those people. But we're all tapped into that on some level right now, during this strong Jupiter station direct month. Like I said, he's not going to really be moving forward until September. So take advantage of, even if he feels a little stuck, that you can tap into that power of attraction energy, as long as you do it consciously. So this is the month to look at how you magnetize things to you. Okay, and last but not least, this is just a little preview of the next video I'm going to be making, but I had recently made a post on Instagram about the fact that Scorpio is the mother energy of Leo, and people said, what does that mean? Does that mean all Leos have a Scorpio mother? And what I was trying to say is it's the base soil, it's the root, it's that which nurtures the energetics of Leo. So every sign has its fourth house base energy. that supports, roots down, nurtures from like it's like the soil that, you know, the sign is rooted in. And it acts as a mothering or nurturing force to that sign. So Scorpio nurtures the energy of Leo. Leos need to connect to that deep, fixed emotional water of Scorpio to nurture their creative, self-expressive leadership tendencies. They need that devotional, vulnerable, committed, all or nothing kind of Scorpio force to really give them that courageous, fiery, you know, passionate energy that they shine so brightly with, right? Every sign has its mother, internal mother. So I'm going to make a video going more into detail with that, but I was really focusing on the Leo because it's Leo season, and the last Venus, and we just had Venus Cazimi in Leo yesterday, and the last Venus retrograde was Scorpio, so I was thinking about the relationship between the Scorpio and Leo energies and how they're really integral to each other. They're really supportive. So the same way that Scorpio acts as the mother to Leo, Leo acts as a father force to Scorpio, or as what Scorpio is trying to is trying to aspire to. It's the 10th house of Scorpio, Leo. So it's an interesting relationship between those signs. And I'm going to delve into how that works with all 12 signs. So I hope you'll catch my next video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you don't miss out on the notification. Thanks so much for watching.